Even at this distance, I can clearly see the lead bad guy has his hoodie up. It's a little harder to tell with the second guy, but for two young men at 12:45 a.m. on an early Sunday morning, I've seen enough. It's March 30th, 2025. Two teens attempted an armed carjacking in Pentagon City. That's in Arlington County, Virginia. This crime happened near the intersection of 12th and Ede, which is the stoplight you're looking at. If we take a look at crimegrade.org, well, it's right next to a high crime dangerous area, within walking distance. Hey guys, retired Lieutenant Todd Heaton here with Humilitas First. Okay, let's break this down. Look up in the right hand corner of your screen. So imagine this is you and your wife, or you and your girlfriend. This is your vehicle. You can see the headlights approaching. Should you be able to see these two guys crossing the street at the intersection? Yes. This is how far ahead you need to be looking. Why? Well, in part because this stoplight, this intersection, it's a transition. And you need to know what potential threats you might be facing as you approach and have to stop at this transition. If I'm not looking for a parking place, I'm just going to slow roll. What does that mean? It means timing the light. It means slowing down slower than the speed limit to time the light so that before I get to that intersection, the light has most likely turned green. It's hard to hit a moving target. It's much easier to hit a parked or temporarily stopped target. Additionally, in big city downtown areas, you often have these blind corners that you have to deal with at the intersection. So pace yourself and keep your tires rolling. It reminds me of that song Rawhide from the Blues Brothers. You got to keep them puppies rolling. Okay, back to the current problem at hand. For whatever reason, you believe that you need to find a parking spot on the street on this block. Now, I strive to be a realist, juxtaposed to an optimist or pessimist, but probably because of my experiences in law enforcement, I have a heavy lean towards pessimism. If I'm in the vehicle that's approaching looking for a parking spot, I'm just going to bet that these two hooded young men are going to pivot and begin traveling in the direction of the one parking space that would actually accommodate me and mine. That's just how it frequently seems to work out. Human beings who are kind of like wolves, well, they're going to want to stage or they're going to want to move in the direction of approaching prey. That's common sense. Let's take a step back and just look at the area. These two hooded teens, they're the only pedestrians that we can see. Just about any big city on the planet that you go to, you're going to see a lot more vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffic on sidewalks during the day juxtaposed to night. Nighttime, it's going to be a lot less cars on the street and far, far less foot traffic on the sidewalks. This is going to be important in just a second. As the intended victims are coming to a stop to take this parking space, well, they should have observed these two teens walking on the sidewalk in their direction, right? Say yes. By the time that the driver begins to back into this spot, we see that the teens have moved slightly past them as if, they're just continuing on about their business. Nothing to see here. As one subscriber with both law enforcement and military experience recently pointed out, crime is proximity and opportunity. I agree. This, my friends, is a timing problem. Recall earlier when I made the point that there just isn't as much foot traffic, pedestrian traffic on the sidewalks in the wee hours of the morning. Well, if you know that, and now you do, here's the easiest fix. You see these guys walking up the sidewalk? You just keep on rolling. You go around the block, maybe go around 2 blocks. That's probably going to take a few minutes. These guys are going to have moved through the area. They're not going to be there. They're not going to be your problem. They're going to be somebody else's problem. If you come back in a few minutes and that parking space is gone, it's okay. You'll find another space somewhere in the area without all the drama that's going to be attached to this one. It's an exchange that needs to take place here, a trade-off. You're trading just a little more time and inconvenience for a lot more safety. I'm not giving these two guys proximity and opportunity. There may not be another pair of teens, or anybody for that matter, walking down this street for hours, maybe not for the rest of the night. All I have to do is recognize that this is an easily avoidable timing problem. I don't have to take this space right now when these guys are in close proximity to me. Like the Rawhide song said, keep them tires rolling. Let's say you're thinking, you're crazy, old man. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Or maybe there are exigent circumstances that you need to park right now. And you know that, yeah, this is a timing problem, but you still need to park. In that case, let's talk about specifically what you want to look for as it relates to situational awareness. Watch our two robbers move into this gap between these two cars. It's a nice place to lay in wait for an ambush. Now, if you're using your rear view mirror and your side mirrors, which you should be, I'm not only concerned about not hitting the car behind me, that's part of it, but I am very much concerned about, hey, where are those two guys? Did they continue along the path that they had in front of them, or did they stop? Did they cut in like they were going to a parked car? Were they going to a parked car? If they were, then we should see something like this. Because if they move in towards this line of cars, like we just saw them do, well, the presumption would be, oh, I guess they're going to their car. Well, if that's the case, then I should be seeing something like this. You know, like when you click the unlock button to get into your car. If I'm not seeing this, then I have a problem, don't I? The bad guys are laying in wait back here for these two to get out of the car. The passenger gets out first, then the driver. Another teachable moment is look how long it seems to take the driver to get out and shut the door. We want to be way more efficient than this. We want to be out of the car and moving towards our destination quickly. The last direction that I want to have to move in a situation like this is the direction that the bad guys were last seen moving. Hey, where did those little rascals disappear to? When the driver and the passenger exit the vehicle, this juvenile buddy team, this robbery crew, well, they move in for domination by threat of imminent death. One of the two brandishes a firearm, making threatening statements. Well, the two intended victims here, they just run off. Look at the direction that the intended victims take when they rapidly put distance between themselves and the unjust criminal aggressors. It's about 90 degrees off the direction of approach from the bad guys. Well, what does that do? Well, if they were to pursue them, it's going to show pursuit. That's another fact that we can stack on the legal battlefield. So both of these guys, they're juveniles. They take off running the same direction that they were previously traveling. The victims contact the police. Officers from the Pentagon Force Protection Agency, they are able to locate these two juveniles and detain them. Arlington County officers then respond to the scene and take the two juveniles into custody. Both of these young men were charged with attempted armed carjacking and possession of a firearm under 18, in addition to some other charges. If you're the kind of guy that's relying on the firearm as the only solution to this kind of problem, then you're not looking at the problem correctly. Yes, if I'm the driver, I'm going to be concealed carry. But let me walk you through how I'm going to deal with this problem. This is a seam, and it's deep in the seam. To park out here and then walk to whatever location we're going to, that's too far from my wife and my children. Why would I want them with me out here deep in the seam? I don't. I don't want them to potentially become collateral damage, a casualty or a death at the hands of an idiot who don't shoot so well with this one-handed moving and hopping around with an extended magazine and full auto clock switch. I don't want that. So I'm going to drop my wife and my children off at the door. I'm going to navigate the scene all by my lonesome. And let me tell you why that's a good thing. Okay, so you're only as fast as the slowest member of your group. So whoever's with you, do they see and do they understand as well as you do? Will they listen to you? Will they obey you first time and every time when you tell them to do something? Because time is such a precious commodity in this life and death situation. Are they emotional? Have they ever even been in a tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving situation? Well, that's unlikely. So you don't really know how they're going to react or fail to react, do you? Do you have small children? They're not going to be as athletic as you. They actually depend upon you to get them out of there. Maybe you and your wife are older, or maybe you have a parent or relative with you that has limitations to their mobility. You know, bad knees, hips, and a bad back, that's going to be a massive limitation on how quickly and how well we can move out here deep in the seam. There's just so much more going on when you've got other people with you that you're responsible for. If your family is with you as the protector, if anybody other than the bad guy has to take a round, then it's going to have to be you. It cannot be your wife and your child. It's your responsibility as the protector to step into and stay in that gap between your family and the bad guy. Your job is to make sure that they either escape or they live. But when you're navigating this gap by yourself, then all of the options are on the table. You can fight, you can comply, or you can flee. You can move to a better fighting position. You can put an obstacle between you and the bad guy. You have options that you don't have when your family's with you. That's the bottom line. Drop your family off at the door where you can see the entire seam, which is small. For argument's sake, let's say 5 meters. Compare that to parking way out deep in the seam, and then everybody has to navigate this huge area of vulnerability, which you can't possibly know how things are going to develop. It's going to take a lot of time to move through that seam. I'm going to guesstimate the length of this seam is going to be about 100 meters. It's about limiting time and areas of vulnerability for those that you love and have the responsibility to protect. This is just common sense.